What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Doing a little Q&A video today. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Actually, I don't know if I've ever done one of these. Anyway, we're doing it today, keeping it very casual. I went through the comments on my YouTube channel, found some of the best questions, and today we're gonna be answering them for you. So let's get started. And the first question comes from Jasper Van Markey. He asks, hey, quick question. Have you ever played live without a bass amp by using just some pedals DI'd into the monitors? If so, what are your experiences? Love the channel, by the way. Greetings from Belgium. Thank you, Jasper, for loving the channel and for your question. And to answer your question, yes. Actually, most of the time when I'm playing, that's exactly what I'm using, is just a DI going out the front of house into my in-ear monitors. I have an amp on stage, but that's mostly just for looks and for stage volume, but I don't really hear it because if you notice, a lot of the gigs that I'm playing, I'm actually using in-ear monitors that are custom molded. They're JH Audio in-ear monitors that are custom molded, and when I put those in-ears on, I can't really hear anything that's going on outside of what's going in those in-ears. So I can barely even hear the drums on stage. So really what I'm hearing is just what's coming in through the in-ears, not what's coming out of the amp. And what's going into those in-ears is a signal from the DI. So I take the DI from either the head of my bass amp or from just a DI box, and that goes out the front of house and to monitor, and it goes into my in-ear monitors and everyone else's monitors, and that's what you're hearing in front of house. And most of the times when you're seeing live gigs, if you look at the bass amp, if there's not a mic in front of the cabinet, which I'd say like at least 90% of the time, if not more, there isn't, what you're actually hearing is a DI signal. Most live engineers, they just use a DI signal. They don't mic the bass cabinet because that's just easier for them to work with, and it sounds pretty good most of the time as long as you have a good DI, a good bass, and you know your bass is set up right and you have good pickups and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, bass amps, you know, if you're playing like a small little bar, then where you don't have like a PA system and all that, then yeah, all you're hearing and all the audience is hearing is that bass amp. But most of the time, think about it, when you're in a venue that seats, let's say it's a theater that seats like 2,000 people, do you really think that little bass amp on stage is gonna power the whole venue? No, it has to be amplified, no pun intended. And most of the time it's amplified through a DI, not through a mic. And again, like I said, you can even pull up videos of live performances on YouTube and look at the bass cabinet, the bass amp, see if there's a mic in front of it. Most of the time on the guitar amp, you'll notice a mic because they mic guitar amps. But if you look at the bass amp, you won't see a mic. So when you see that, you know that what you're hearing is a DI signal. Either they're getting it from the head of the bass amp or from a DI box. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. You know, bass amps I don't feel are as important as your bass to your sound, because a lot of times, like I said, you're not even really using it or hearing it. Now, if you're in a studio situation, that's a little bit different. You know, usually they will like mic your amp, but then you're in a controlled environment. It's a completely different thing. But when we're talking about gigs and live sound, yeah, most of the time I have a bass amp on stage, but really I'm not using it as far as what the audience hears or even what I hear when I have my in-ear monitors. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for commenting, and thank you for your question. Mechabyte says, 3 hours a day for one exercise? That's madness. Mechabyte, there is a world famous quote by Bruce Lee where he says, I'm not afraid of the guy that practices 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the guy that practices one kick 10,000 times. Think about that. Chris P says, very impressive. I always like your videos. How do you come up with your arrangements and little things like this? Peace, Chris P. Well, Chris P, I actually have a course called the Solo Bass Mastery course where I show you exactly how I come up with these arrangements, and I even teach you many of my arrangements note for note so that you can play them yourself. I'll leave a link to it in the card of this video and in the description box if you want to check that out. Thank you for your question. Marco Hernandez says, I appreciate the effort that goes into making these gig vlogs. You're doing a great job. Thanks, Marco. You know, the gig vlogs are actually some of my favorite videos that I make on this channel, and ironically, they're the ones that have the least amount of views, and I think it might have something to do with the YouTube algorithm. People don't really find them, I don't know, but you know, they're the hardest videos to make. They're hard to shoot, they're hard to edit, but I really enjoy them. I love being able to look back and see that stuff, and really the reason I make those gig vlogs is because I've aspired to do these kind of gigs, these kind of touring gigs and playing with like big sign artists and big venues like my whole life. You know, that's kind of how I got to where I am now. It's just something I've always wanted to do and I worked really hard towards. And I've always wondered, you know, when I was younger, like, what does it actually look like? What is it like to do these gigs? And now that I'm doing these gigs and we have these platforms like YouTube where I get to share this stuff, I decided to just go ahead and do these vlogs and share it. So, you know, I figured there would be a lot of people that are in the same position that I was when I was younger, wondering what these gigs are like and wanted to see the behind the scenes. And so that's why I did this stuff. And yeah, vlogging is not easy, man. I mean, just doing a regular vlog where these guys just show their life and do that kind of stuff, that's hard enough as it is. But these gig vlogs, man, it's like I'm playing the gig and I'm trying to like set up cameras and getting the angles right, and then I have to talk to the camera so that you guys know what's going on and what you're watching, and all this while I'm setting up for the gig, while I'm playing the gig, while I'm playing the sound check and all that stuff. So yeah, they're very hard to shoot and edit. They're very hard to make, but I love it, man. I love being able to look back, and I love it for myself too, just to have all this stuff to look back on and see all these gigs that I've done, and it's really cool to see, and I hope that other people appreciate it as well and enjoy it, and hopefully more people will be able to find it and see it and be hopefully inspired by it, or, you know, entertained or whatever it is. So yeah, thank you for your comment. Thank you for checking out the channel. Appreciate you, Marco. And the last question for today comes from Adrian Grant. He asks, what advice can you give a person that's in their mid-30s who wants to learn to play the bass but think they should have started playing or learning a lot sooner? So I love this question. This is a great question because, first of all, no, it's not too late. It's never really too late to learn anything. And really the thing you have to ask yourself is, what is your goal? Why do you want to learn to play bass? What is your goal in playing bass? Now, you're in your mid-30s, so I'm assuming you already have an established career, you have a solid job, you have your source of income, and you're just looking to play bass as a hobby, as something to do in your free time, and just for fun. And it's never too late to do that, and don't lose sight of that goal. Your goal is to have fun playing. Maybe you want to jam with your friends, maybe you want to just jam to records in your house, in your bedroom, and you know, there's no pressure in that. You just have fun with it. I think that the reason people say it's too late to start is that if you're looking to be a professional bass player, you want to have a career as a bass player, you aspire to be one of the greatest bass players in the world, one of your goals is to be, you know, in the top 10 bass players in Bass Player magazine, then yeah, you know, it might be a little too late for that. But that's not your goal. I'm assuming that's not your goal. You just want to have fun. You just want to play with friends. There's no pressure in that. You don't have to be a great bass player. You just have to have fun and enjoy doing it. And if you don't enjoy it, don't do it, you know? Like I said, you probably have a career, you probably, I don't know if you're married, if you have kids, but you know, this is a hobby for you. This is something you want to do for fun. So don't put that much pressure on yourself. You know, learn the songs you want to learn, play with your friends, play with your favorite records, and just have fun in the process. You know, don't be watching guys on YouTube and being like, oh my God, I suck. I'm never going to be like these guys. I'm never going to be able to play like that. First of all, you can't suck because you're not aspiring to be a professional, so you don't need to compare yourself to anyone, you know? Like me personally, I do this professionally, I play gigs professionally, I do these YouTube videos that a lot of people watch, so for me, I feel a lot of pressure every time I pick up the instrument, not gonna lie, because I know that people are, you know, especially on YouTube, they're judging me. They're judging my skills, my technique, my sound, my everything. You look at the comments, like people are brutal, you know? But for you, that's not your situation at all, you know? I think it's not too late. I don't think it's ever really too late to start doing stuff. Like if you wanted to start practicing sports, if you wanted to start, you know, maybe you want to get into something like boxing just for, you know, the health benefits, the cardio, you know, just to learn a new skill set and just to, you know, work on your motor function, stuff like that. You don't have to necessarily aspire to be like a world champion boxer, you know, so it's never really too late to do that stuff. I think really the most important thing is remembering what your goal is, not comparing yourself to others. And I think that whole advice of, you know, or that whole common knowledge of, oh, it's too late to start something is a whole load of BS, because I think people don't really take it into context, the goal that you have in starting that thing. I mean, if you're starting as a hobby or something to have fun, then you don't have to be the best in the world, but that's not your goal. And so it doesn't really matter when you start. You could be 70 years old and start, and it could still be a really fun thing for you. So yeah, that's my advice. I don't think it's too late. I think you're fine. I think you should just Like I said, learn your favorite songs, play with your friends, play along with your favorite records, and just have fun with it, man, because that's what it's all about, you know? So that is the last question for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have questions for the next one, then leave them in this video. Leave it in the comment of this video, because when I do the next one of these videos, I'm just gonna take questions from this video, because that's a lot easier than me having to go through all my videos to find questions. So just leave a comment on this video with your question, and I will answer it in the next Q&A video. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you do that right now. Like this video, leave your question below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you.